There are dozens of different factors that can impact conversion. I have a whole worksheet on this because it's so fascinating. What we'll do is we'll launch targeting almost all those major keywords, almost in exact form, just to make sure we're establishing high relevancy with Amazon. We're covering all the root words that we found. We group them by that way so that they kind of perform similarly. So going back to the toiletry bag example, all the bathroom bag keywords should perform similarly for your product, and all the men's shaving bag keywords should perform similarly for your product. So if you group them together, it's usually easier to optimize it that way. So then you've turned on maybe 20, 30 campaigns and you're targeting a couple hundred keywords. Now you kind of just need to go through that and look at, where am I performing well? How am I doing from an impression standpoint versus my competitors? So after that fourth, fifth, sixth day, when you start to rank on the first page and you're starting to get first page impressions organically, you can start to use some advanced data from Amazon. You want to, first of all, be tracking all of those keywords, right? So your organic placement on all of them. But then you need to kind of look at, what is my impression share percentage? What is my click-through share, my click share percentage? And then how is my conversion rate doing versus, let's say, the average of the top 3 sellers for that keyword, right? What is my PPC performance doing? Once you kind of look at all of those things together, and we've built that out into Data Dive. So when you use a typical keyword tracker, it'll kind of just tell you where you're at the moment. What I wanted to do is kind of put all this new data that Amazon's giving you. So if I know my impression share is 6, that means 5 other sellers are getting more impressions than me on that keyword. Now, if my conversion rate is high on that keyword, my PPC is performing well, and my organic rank is in the top 10 or 20, that's a strong indicator that we need to push more. We need more traffic. We need more to push more traffic and impressions and clicks and sales to that keyword in particular. So now I need to look at, how am I targeting that? Can I turn on a broad campaign, a phrase campaign? Can I be more aggressive with that exact campaign? Where's my placement there? Can I be more top of search? So it's a big feedback loop, because there's a direct correlation between what your impression rank is and your conversion rate versus your competitors. Remember, it's performance times relevancy, right? So if I've established the right relevancy and I have no indexing issues, which you would clearly see if you're tracking, indexing issues look like you're not even on page 7, right? They look like you're way off. Or if you wrote only the broad phrase, or Amazon's not sure, you might be stuck in position 35, 45, but everything else is performing well. That's another indicator you need to rewrite it. So if the indexing is good, and there's a strong correlation between strong performance and good impressions and good organic ranks. So ranking really well, really low. So we want to make sure that we're getting that right feedback. If my performance isn't good, so the SOP is like, step 1 is conversion. Fix your conversion rate. Make sure there's no indexing. So step 2 is indexing. Step 3 is send more or less traffic. So once I've hit that organic mark that I want to hit, top 1, 2, or 3, maybe now I can start to back off the PPC a little bit. I can start to play with that and see if the PPC was holding it up there, or whether I'm spending money in a place where I'm not converting. Maybe this whole route isn't right. People searching for bathroom bag are looking for a vinyl one that hangs, and mine is a canvas one, right? Maybe I should just abandon that route and stop wasting my money on it. So you need to be tracking, you need to be looking at the data and making decisions on which direction to go, where to spend more money, how to fix your listing, and it's all relative to your competition. So that's where the data really gets intense, and it's a lot to deal with. But once you really start to put it all into one location and start to know what to look for and set a few rules up, you can really start to do some damage and push your ranks and increase your profitability by lowering the tacos.
When you say you look at see whether or not your conversion rate's doing well or not, what benchmarks do you compare your conversion rate against?
So in Brand Registry, Amazon gives you the top 3 conversion rates per keyword generally. And so what we're doing is I'm trying to go there and say, what is that average, right? Sometimes the top guy is just, an outlier, right? Maybe it's a brand name, or maybe there's, But as an average of those top three, because it only gives you the top three, unfortunately. Am I beating that? And if I am, then that's a really strong sign that I should be organically taking one of those guys' spots, right? I should be there. How do I achieve that? Well, I got to push. I gotta get more conversions, more clicks, and I've got to get more traffic to those keywords and related keywords that can help me. If you take all of those keywords you're tracking, and then you sort it by root word, right? Like that repeated word, again, all the shaving kit, bag, bath, like keywords. So I would expand that and I would look at that as a whole. If I decide I'm going to send more traffic to all of those keywords inside of that route, there might be 12 of them, I'm going to get a compounded effect, because remember, every time there's an action on a keyword, all the related keywords get an action. So it's around looking at the data, being very deliberate with your spend and your strategy and the way you group things. That combination is really the magic mix. It's really understanding, like, what levers am I deciding to pull this week, right? Which route am I targeting this week? If you do a little bit over here, a little bit over there, and a little bit over there, you're not going to be as effective. And I think that's the strategy most people use. They got data over here, data over there, and then they're like, let's push that keyword and this keyword, and they're not really related. And so you're always fighting an uphill battle, and it's really tough.
If you look at your conversion rate and compare it against those top three, and you're like really far off, what do you do next? Like, what are the first areas for you to dive into to try to improve that conversion rate?
So I have a whole worksheet on this because it's so fascinating. There are dozens of different factors that can impact conversion. And so it's going to be around, a lot of times, versus the competition is the big thing, because it's whether they only have a choice. You are the best sellers, right? Or the other sellers. So if you take yours and those three best sellers and you put them onto a worksheet and you ask yourself a series of 20 questions, just honest questions around, how is my main image versus the competitor? What elements are there in their image that aren't in mine? And what do I have in mind that aren't in there? So like a checkbox type thing. Do I have the packaging? What's written on my packaging? Like, is there a big keyword on my packaging, or is maybe theirs has it and mine doesn't? Are my pieces of my product in the image? Do I have a model? Do I not have a model? Is it a lifestyle? Like, there's so many different ways to do a main image. So you really need to tear it down and reverse engineer what's working and what's not working. Then you can go into pricing. You can go into coupons, strikeouts. You can go into like deals and colors and sizes and just overall value. So you can really tear it down. And sometimes you'll come to a conclusion like, I'm only ever going to be fifth. Like, I'm not going to beat those guys. Like, their value's great. They really nailed the design. They've got patents or designs. I'm not going to just copy them. Like, there's a bunch of copycats. I'm okay just being seventh. And I'm going to make my $100 a day profit. I'm just going to optimize for that. And I'm going to move on now to these other products. And I just got to move on. But so, a lot of times what you'll do is when you go through that worksheet, you'll say, man, this main image, I just had this when I was in China in January. One of my best selling products was starting to fall off. We went from 40 a day to 12 a day. I was like, what is going on with this product? And it was a PPC strategy combined with a competitor coming in with a very similar design and a much better main image. They had just updated the main image. They put the packaging in it. And I said, like, I went through the worksheet with my team. I showed them how to do it. And I said, look at their main image. And I went to my design team and I said, look at ours. Ours needs to beat theirs. Full stop. Do what you got to do. Turned it around and we're back up over 40 or 50 a day. It was just a matter of making sure that we fixed the main content. We got aggressive with some deals to boost it back up. And luckily we had enough of a head start on that competitor that they weren't able to come in and take more market share before we realized it. But it was like a sudden drop off. Like they were coming in.
Now, this was just a very small piece taken from the full webinar, but you can watch it all, plus get 10 more hours of exclusive content by visiting the link below. This year, Jungle Scout hosted our first ever Amazon Seller Week, where we teamed up with industry-leading experts to help sellers like you elevate and evolve your business. We covered 10 different learning sessions on topics like advanced advertising strategies, growth funding options, supply chain tips, and much more. And you can access all of it for free with the link below.